whatever is required for attendance and all that. Then we'll start the class.
Okay, sir.
2 minutes. So you all can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good. So, it's nice that some of you have started sending the assignment. I hope that I believe that most of you will send by end of this week, that is by Friday. I think 16th or 17th, if you can send, it will be good for me to, I'll start compiling and then we'll finish all the formalities of putting numbers, marks, whatever it is, correct? So that's one part of it. Mm. So today we will go into one more new topic. I think very related again. It's still an applied, though I know I told you last class that we will go for fundamentals, but there is so much of applied yet to be done. So I thought that let me finish all the applied thing, which is easy to understand. Even the fundamentals are not very difficult to understand, but I think this is easy to understand, and I have a mastery on that topic, so I don't have to really prepare too much. for the class. So once I get a lot of time, I will prepare myself first fundamental and then start taking the class. But till then, I think we have lots in a syllabus, and some of the questions in exams are related to that. So one of the topic today we will be doing is fungi. So you all have heard about fungi, right? Fungi, which we are going to see, we are in a bioprospecting class and we are going to use this fungi for our benefit. And in a previous fermentation classes, you have heard about that production of our antibiotic comes from fungal cell. Penicillium is fungi. I'll name few of the fungi for you. And then we are going to shift different kind of fungi today. So humankind has been using different kind of, cheese making. So you all must have seen the cheese making penicillium on the cheese. So in cheese making industry, we use. In fermentation, we broadly use most of the antibiotic. Lot of antibiotic comes from that. Then yeast can be also in a bigger way classified into a fungal, and it can be used as single cell protein. So that all thing we have already. Alcohol production, again yeast. So we have learned that. Correct. But today, what we are learning today from an agriculture point of view, also we should know, because if you want to set up a very small scale industry, then this is one of the very attractive field. And actually, if you put it onto Amazon even today, biopesticide and fungi, then you will be able to see a lot of hits. Now, please tell me, was it done last year? Because I don't remember whether it was taught to you. Means I have not taught definitely, but is anybody taught to you a biopesticides in a previous class?
Yes, sir, we had it last
Acha.
semester.
So what was that? In that you have learned 3 fungi?
No, sir, we just learnt about some microbes which could technically act as pesticides. It was quite brief, but we didn't learn about fungi.
Acha, it was not taken in detail with fungi, right?
No.
Okay. So I think that's good. Like that means you all know one thing, one very good thing, and I like that at least you all, at least some of you are responding, and that's a good thing. And that interaction gives me and more confidence. So what we can do is today, you already know what is biopesticide. Biopesticide. Pesticides you all know, correct? A lot of chemicals but biology, and you also, because your last class you have been taught last year what is biopesticide. That is, we use a biological material to control the insect, put it that way right now, correct? That is biopesticides. Normally we use pesticides in a crop, in the field, different types of crop, correct? And we try to protect our crops using this pesticides. And with biopesticides, you use a biological material to control the unwanted insects. So I will start with the presentation so you can concentrate more and explanation can become easier. There we go. So pathogenic मतलब आप लोगों को पता है, correct? COVID virus. So all viruses are not pathogenic, but COVID is pathogenic because it is causing an infection to human beings, correct? So typhoid. So the bacteria Salmonella typhi is a pathogenic organism because it is causing to human infection and it brings us down. So similar principle we can is been explored years back. I mean, now for almost like 4 decades it has been used, 4 to 5 decades it has been used. Is, see, this fungi can be pathogenic to insect. Correct? The way we just now I described to you that some organisms are pathogenic to us, but if we can find out something which is pathogenic selectively to insect, then that can be exploited for controlling the insect in our field, crops, different type of crops, right? So that is a principle being used. So very simple. You all can see the slides?
Yes, sir.
Good, very good. So in the fungal pathogen, see, it is simple. Fungal pathogen, it goes to insect and it is beneficial to us. And these are the diagrams you remember, because this is a very favorite question. Um, I don't know whether you all know, but your 3 sets are being prepared for your examination. So nobody knows what question will come. But what I have seen in past years, when the question paper comes to you all, this question in one form or another is always there. And if you can draw the diagram, most of the time you will come up with good marks. So you can see here, we are going to use the fungi. A fungi will become parasite onto the insect. Yeah, and it kills or seriously disable the insect. You can see the insect which has been completely covered. This is an insect which is completely covered by fungi, and it's almost become it is killed. So I hope this slide you understood. Fungus, which is parasite for insect, will be used to kill or severely disable the insect, and that is what is a principle behind the biopesticide, and especially fungi with the specific reference of a fungi. So now we will go into little detail about the understanding and manufacturing of this. So now we are going to talk about from our bioprospecting perspective, not clinical. So human is out. We are going to talk about insect, and we want to kill the insect because it is spoiling our crop, and we want to make the money out of providing to farmer something which will control the insect, right? Just remember that is a background for today's lecture. But certain basics, entomopathogen. I think you must have heard about entomopathogen, but if you have not heard, it's a Greek word that, yeah, it is insect entomopathogens which we are talking about. Entomo is insects, yeah, and what we are going to use is a pathogen, that is a microorganism which will be specific for insect. Yeah. So there are different pathogenic fungi which are selectively killing the insect. So here you can see the different stages. How can you all see? This is an insect which could have spoiled our crop, but when the fungi is getting it gets the infection with the fungi, it becomes like it gets killed at the end. And these are the stages of infection with the fungi, correct? So entomo is an insect. Yeah, pathogen here is going to be fungi, and this fungi is going to be helpful for us for controlling, correct? Now I'm coming to little classification. Don't get worried, but you have to remember this at least 4. If you can't remember the right hand side detail, that's fine. I will highlight some of them which are very important. But at least you should know Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, Duratomycetes, and uh, Phycomycetes. So these are the 4 classes of entomogenic pathogen fungi which we use. And in this, Duromycetes in that Metaserium and Verticillium we are going to learn in a detail. So here you can ask some question, but I think you have to remember these 4 classes. I think if you see more often or like you have to remember, correct? Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, Duromycetes, and Phycomycetes. So these are the 4 different classes of fungi which have been used for killing the insect. Now I'm coming, after giving you a brief introduction, we are going into little more detail how this is going to happen, correct? I think I have a diagrammatic explanation also. Yeah. So this is I try to make it very, very simple. So, now we are going to, if this fungi has to infect the insect, the first step is it should be able to attach to the to the surface of insect, correct? Yeah, first step will be what? unless there is an interaction between fungi and insect, the killing cannot happen. And for this, there should be a favorable condition. And one of the most basic favorable condition for this kind of infection to take place or a fungal infection to take place is a high humidity and low temperature. Now, even for human, I'm just giving you simulation because some of you will be able to correlate. Lot of fungal infection happens in when there is a lot of in a wall. Have you all seen the fungi growing on a wall, which is very common? But even to human, there is a fungi which during the monsoon we get a lot of fungal infection, and when there is a colder weather, this is the very natural. So the same principle goes with the insect. So when we are using this fungi, for first step is an attachment, and the second step is germination. Yeah. So first it has to attach onto the surface of uh, insect. We'll use the scientific terminology in the next coming slides, but first try to understand a very simple. And then it has to germinate, because not going to we are going to supply to the farmer the fungal spores. So in the spore formation, so the spores get attached onto the insect surface, and then they start germinating. Once they start germinating, yeah, they start growing fungi. With the spores are now germinating using the insect's nutrition, and then they penetrate. The next step is very important for a killing, is to penetrate. So first they get attached, second they germinate. The third step is penetration into the insect, yeah, and then proliferation. After entering into insect, they need to multiply into the insect to kill the insect. Have you seen try to remember the previous photograph where it was completely covering, and once it proliferates into it, it will do a killing. And once the insect is killed, what will happen? The insect, once that killed, it will get deteriorated, and all these spores which are formed inside the insect will be free to infect spores of fungi, which will be formed using the insect material, and an insect was now killed. But these spores will be available to kill other insect, because there is never a one insect, correct, in the whole field. So this is a very important diagram, though very simple. I'm sure you all will remember by heart, and I've tried to make it. And because I try to do it, I think there is some these arrows are up and down, but I try to make it very simple by removing rest of the cluttering. Yeah. So this is what is the process where it happens, and this diagram is must. Yeah. Please give 2 minutes to yourself before I'll keep myself shut for 2 minutes. And please see this diagram. Very very important diagram. ये diagram एग्जाम में आपको ड्रॉ करना ही करना है, और स्पेशली लेफ्ट हैंड साइड का, उसके बिना मार्क नहीं मिलेंगे। या सो 2 मिनट आप लोग इस डायग्राम देखिए। It's 10:43 on my watch. I'll wait for 10:45. 2 मिनट पूरा देखिए, शांति से पढ़िए, समझने का ट्राई करिए, then I'll explain. Yeah, so now I'll start explaining. See, in the previous two slides, I told you about normal attachment, and here you can see this. First, just see the right hand side. Yeah, so it is pictorially clearly see first interaction, correct? Attachment it will take place. After attachment, this see the insect starts forming this spores. This is going to be circle. So you just see this that how it is multiplying onto the insect, correct? Then it penetrates into the insect and it kills this insect. So this is a continuous cycle. Once it gets killed, it will further release, it will proliferate, it will again go. So this is the circle which is going on in killing. And now the more scientific thing you have to understand is what is in a surface of the epicuticle. This is insects. If you see on a left hand side, it's a cross section of an insect, the same insect. And what we are just seeing is the different parts. First, this is a parts of insect, epicuticle, procuticle, yeah, then epidermis and hemolymph. So insects are having hemolymph inside, exactly inside. But before that, they have a very tough layer of epicuticle. So what happens is, and here you are seeing is this round, brown round color you are seeing is a fungi. Can you see the fungi, whole fungus? So it is first attached, then conidium formation, yeah. Then it is enter into the procuticle and in up to the epidermis, and after epidermis it penetrates into the hemolymph, and where it really start budding and it start blastospore formation. And this is how it is killing the organism. Now, if you have any question, because you have seen this for 2 to 3 minutes, and if you have some questions, ask it, or I think is it very simple to reproduce. But this diagram is must when you see that fungal pathogen to control insect or entomopathogen. The question in exam can be with a different kind of wordings, but the answer will be more or less very similar with this in your mind, and the previous 2 or 3 slides which I told should be little bit expanded.
Okay, sir.
So this is one. Now after showing you the basics, this was a like we again I'll just very quickly go. We explain what is entomopathogen, what is a pathogenic fungi. These are the 4 classes which you have to definitely remember. Yeah, the 4 classes. Then the methodology of attachment. So now we know that this is what the process, and now we want to use it for production. So there is first you have to also discuss whether there is advantage, yeah, of using this. So here you can see there is a synthetic peptide. This is a table which gives you a differential, and sometime in your exam there is a question differentiate between a biopesticide and a pesticide. Yeah, so factors are here: cost effectiveness, persistence and residual effect, knockdown effect, handling and bulkiness, pest resurgence, effect of beneficial flora, target specificity, nature of control, and shelf life. See, this 8 thing you have to write, because this is going to be 8-mark question. So the cost effectiveness, the first important thing is, like, synthetic pesticides are much cheaper. As you have seen the fermenter construction, and even if we talk about trays and all that, I told you, correct? There is a certain simple fermentation where you can just put the grains and put the fungi on the top of it, and it will grow, and then you harvest. But still, it is a costlier than the any of this available pesticide. DDT, if I talk about, it's a dirt cheap, correct? But and application. So in the first cost, at the first sight, you will feel that synthetic pesticides are better. But the next point, which immediately kills that advantage, synthetic pesticide we are using on our crops, vegetables, correct? So synthetic pesticide lasts very long, and we all know in grapes, I think grapes have become more dangerous than in health. It has become health hazard, or even lychee sometime, where there is a lot of very expensive fruit, but very susceptible to insect. We use a lot of pesticide, and that is having a residual effect. So that residual effect is very high in a synthetic, while it is much lower in this biopesticide. So that's the biggest advantage which we see. The knockdown effect, like, synthetic pesticide immediately kills, while biopesticide might appear to be killing it slowly. But, there is a very important advantage. These synthetic pesticides are very harmful to human beings, while biopesticides are selectively made for insect. So they are very host specific, correct? Previously I told you that if one insect is infected and if it dies, many spores are released. So any other insect coming in the vicinity will get killed. With all this advantage, still this field is just progressing, because still farmers in a third world countries or even in a developed countries are still tilted towards the synthetic pesticide. But as the whole control, like, now DDT is banned because it is found in children, it was found in birds, multiple places. So similarly, there is a control coming on this pesticide, and that is how the biopesticide field will improve, is increasing. But today it is around 2% to 4% or 5%, but this 2% to 5% is good enough to capture a market. It's a significant market size. So here advantages and characteristic. Yeah, sortable, economical, easy to produce, safe and acceptable, convenient to apply, and virulent against target pest. These are the crux, like, 2-3 places I brought it. Here is the differentials which we have given with the synthetic, and now we are giving a crystal clear what are the advantages. It's a high degree of specificity. Now, number of time I explained right to you. As compared to chemical pesticide, easy to apply and aid to grow throughout, because it's going to get infected. One insect will infect another 20 insect, and that is how it is going to, no adverse effect to human beings. Yeah. Absence of residual. There is no question of any residual one which will come into your fruits and vegetables, or your crop is going to harm. Yeah, in a long range, it becomes cheaper by 50% comparable to chemical pesticide. I'll tell you how. Because of the chemical pesticide, if you export grapes or you export anything, it gets rejected, and the cost of that rejection and overall cost, when you really calculate back, and repeated exposure to pesticide, this chemical pesticide make the pest very resistant. So multiple aspect, it is a cost effective. So these are the clear-cut advantages. Now we are shifting our gears to commercial production, because don't forget, after understanding this an interesting topic of science, I think we have to see to it that how we can commercially exploit this and how we are going to use. Very simple. See, fungal isolates, we will be, as I told you here, you will go to the field and collect the insects which are died because of some kind of infection, and isolate the fungi. Sample collection, we were going to extreme environment to collect the soil. Here we will go and collect the insect, bring it to our laboratory, isolate the fungi from that dead insect, or already covered with this kind of, you have seen the previous, just try to remember the previous photograph of insect which were covered with the all fungal. You saw that? The stages I showed, two photographs I showed. So when I send you slide, you see if you forgot. So we will try to isolate those fungi, and we will try to develop a medium which is very cheap, because as I told you, here you have to be very frugal, because this is meant for farmer, a small farmer to a big farmer. So you have to compete with the chemical pesticide. So we will see to it how we can make it very cheap and simple. Correct. So these are the two principal commercial scale production. Yeah. The production procedure should be easy and low cost. I already told you. And formulation at the end, the one of the most important, how you are going to supply it to the farmer and educate him how to use it. So it should be long life, correct? It is coming out from your lab to the farmer. There is no loss of infectivity. Suppose if the spores are dying on the way when you are supplying to farmer, then they will not be able to kill the insect. They will not infect, they will not attach. So these are the 4 important aspects of this. That you need a fungal isolate, you need a media which is cheap, you need a production procedure which are there should not be a lot of temperature control, humidity control, because they will all add to the cost. So these are going to be surface fermentation. I explained you during the fermentation what is a surface fermentation. Then you make a formulation and sell it. So these are the 3 main fungi, correct? Verticillium, you see it in an Beauveria. Different people pronounce it differently, but I pronounce it a Beauveria bassiana, Verticillium lacini, and Metasorium anisopelia. These are the 3 fungi, and these 3 names you have to remember with the correct spelling. Yeah, there is no alternative. So these 3 are the main commercially important fungi, pathogenic fungi, which are being used for insect. Yeah. So I'm not getting into the more. They are, as I told you in the first slide, Duromycetes, and they are fungi imperfecti. But this is like, you will read it, and that's fine. I think I'll shift to the production, mass scale production. So simple. What you do, you take a 200 grams of tray in a 250 gram polypropylene bag or a bottle with 190 ml of water. Can you imagine? Just try to visualize how simple this production is going to be. Correct? So then you sterilize at 120 degrees centigrade for 45 minutes, this whole thing. Then cool and inoculate 5 ml of a fungal spore. Remember I told you we brought the fungi from insect from the field, which was infected with the fungi, and we isolated that fungi. So that fungi will make a 5 ml suspension, and we will infect this. We will add to this media. Media here is, so just 250 gram of grains. These grains can be very different. It can be maize, it can be barley, it can be even our wheat. Yeah, it works. So then the bags are kept for 25 days at a 25 degrees centigrade is a normal. You don't have to keep on adjusting. After this, the air dried under a laminar airflow for 3 days at 40 degrees. Ground to fine mixture and pack it and sell it. This is that easy, once you have this initial hold on it, you can do a spray drying, or you can supply it in a emulsion form or wetted powder. These are the 3 form which are available for this kind of thing, and the dosage which are used. So now I'm shift. Once you make it, the 4th step, yeah, this 4th step formulation. So the formulation, once you manufactured it, now you have made it this emulsified. So formulations are getting ready. Then you have to explain to the farmer that what is the dosage he has to put. So it is spores of 1.5 gram of a kilogram of a spore per hectare has to be inoculated, and this 1.5 kg should be having 10⁹ cells. So these are the some of the trademarks. So you should also know this 4 Myocontrol, Neutralis. But this 4 trade names which I have written it down here are the one which are already available in a market. Yeah. So this is okay. So this is all I want to really. This is all you need to know. And then there is a lot more. Okay. This Metasorium anisopelia, the production you can use a carrot pieces, yeah, in a conical flask, and then the more or less the process remain the same, yeah. And verticillium. In verticillium, just see 65 gram of sorghum. This is one of the kind of cereal which can use a grain in 250 ml of a conical flask, and then you add autoclave. The process remains more or less same. But the media differ. See here, this is a sorghum. For Metasorium, we are using carrot, and for in general, we are using in general. First, you explain that you are using different grains or fruits. So this is the production of that, and then I told you how we formulate and apply. So these are the slide sets. And this is all I want you to draw, understand, and explain for your 7 to 8 mark question. It is quite a detail, but I think if you can explain advantage, disadvantage, first you explain what are the fungi, parasite, and then you explain what is entomopathology. Then you have to draw diagrams in this kind of answer. Then this 4. And in that Durotomycetes, it's one of the most exploited commercially. But these 4 classes you have to explain. Then how it is infecting and attachment, penetration, germination, penetration, proliferation, killing. Then you have to explain with this diagram. And then you have to explain the advantage and disadvantage of synthetic versus biopesticide. Yeah, and then you have to give this 4 basic steps of fungal isolate, media, production and formulation. These 3 main fungi and how it is being produced are given in a detail in the running slides. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. This is what you need to know in today's class, and we are not going any more detail. This is more than enough detail required at your level.
So in the formulation slide, it said that it should have a variability of 12 to 18 months. What is variability?
Good. Let me go there. Yeah. Let me, because there are multiple formulation slide. Which one which you saw? Not this one, right?
No, not this one.
Okay, maybe in the basic slide it should be there. Correct. Yeah. In the basic slide, correct. So no loss of infection, correct. So here I told you that this pores first. Now we have manufactured, correct, and we are supplying to the farmer, and you now know that 1.5 kg farmer has to apply per hectare. Yeah, and depending on the insect population, but once he applies, I think this fungi are going to multiply and kill. But the variability which we are talking about here is, because this need to be storage. You will manufacture in your plant or small field or small house, and then you are going to pack it. You saw that how easy it is to manufacture and pack it. But if you have packed it as a 10⁻⁹, I'll show you one slide, where how much we apply per hectare. If you know that, it will, see, it should be 30 into 10⁹ conidia or 3 into 10⁻⁻10 conidia per gram in this, spores, because ultimately these spores are going to kill the insect, and that is where the variability comes. So, you have to label it whether it will survive for 12 months, 13 months, and that you do a quality controlling by keeping in your laboratory for around 12 months to 24 months to 5 years. At a different time point, you will check whether the conidia are dying on its own or whether it is still 3 into 10⁻⁻10. Did you understand this? This variability means the total cell count on the basis of on the time base.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So you understood it. So good. I think, when you ask this question, we go front and back into the slide, so it can make more questions and it can make more clear. So both, see, getting a question itself is telling that you are getting some understanding.
So,
Yes.
okay, sir. So we are using grains to produce fungi.
Different kinds of grain, and good you asked this question. So, the sorghum grain, I don't know whether you all know, put it on Google and you'll get the Hindi name. I don't know the Hindi name. The sorghum grains are used for producing verticillium, but it is not necessary that you use only sorghum grains, correct? You have to be very cheap in this, you have to be very economical in this kind of production because you have to supply at a very competitive rate. So that is why we are using the grains which are not very expensive and not much used in a human consumption. Even like a carrot pieces. Yeah, here you see, for Marathesium, you are using carrots, those which are little spoiled carrots. You just cut them and then autoclave them at 25 degrees centigrade. I mean, you just autoclave them, boil them, and autoclave you know now. So autoclaving, you do it and then inoculate with the Metherazorium anispila spore suspension which you have prepared in the lab. And that is how you, at the end, after 25 days, you will get a lot of spores which you will pack it and sell it. Did you understand? It's not the only grains. We can use either carrot pieces, So different organism use the different kind of media where it is select which it likes for growth, correct? So like as I was discussing during fermentation, that glucose is 5% used for yeast. But if you put, if you are growing a bacteria and if you put 5% glucose, it may not be that suitable for it. Yeah, so depending on the culture, you use the media. So this is a medium, 40 carats, and the basics are basic media is given here. It has to be cheap and easily available. So sorghum grain is, if not available in your area, then you have to see which grain will be useful for growing verticillium in my lab. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I think if you have any more questions, we'll wait for 2 minutes and then close the class. I think. I don't know whether the recording is still on. Let me check. Recording is still on. So I think quickly put your cameras on so it gets recorded in that. Just for a minute or seconds. Is all the faculty asking you to put on the camera, or it's only with me? So then otherwise I'll ask our IT department that why there was a difficulty in putting the attendance. Manasvi, you have any idea? Does every faculty, because you all must be attending all the classes. So in every class you have to put on the camera, or only in my class? So I think that's a requirement. Then fine. Because I was wondering that why camera is required for attendance, but I don't know. Even, if my camera was not on, so in one of the class, I could not put the attendance. I was very surprised. Anyway, I think fine. I think that should be fine. I think I think you all have next class, correct? 11:15?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I think you all can leave, no problem. Thank you. If you all have any question, feel free to write to me or discuss. I'll give you my phone number also. So just send me an WhatsApp. When I'm free, I'll call you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.